Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope that you guys are having a great day. It is the middle of the week. We are on Wednesday now and I wanted to just say thank you all for checking out this video. I decided to do a watercolor piece today because during this last weekend I had my birthday and I received a gift from my husband, which was the Arteza fine tip brushes or detail brushes. It's a set of 15 different brushes and I don't think they're necessarily meant just for watercolor, but I use them just for watercolor. So I had a lot of fun with them. I'm actually really impressed. I only used, I think, like 3 of them in total, but for the ones that I used for this particular piece, I actually found that I really like the fine points of them and the way the brush feels and worked even. I did decide to use one brush in particular to fill out the color of the skin tone as the first shade to kind of see how it would feel doing like a full lay of color, and I was actually really impressed and really liked it, considering that for the majority of the time I do use the Winsor & Newton Cotman brush that comes with the paint set in itself. And I also use a Princeton round brush that I received in last year's Inktober box, which granted it was for Inktober, but I love it for watercolor. But I actually really liked it. I think they're a very nice set of brushes. They're relatively inexpensive. He found them from my wish list off Amazon. So I know that they're about $15, but they're, it's pretty worth it, considering that a lot of times when you are looking for good brushes, they do tend to be like between $3 to $15 per brush, depending in US dollars per brush, depending on the ones that you are looking for. So to get a set of 15 brushes for $15 is, I feel like, a pretty fair price, considering that they're actually really nice and they're pretty good detail brushes. So I did have a lot of fun trying them out and using them. I did notice a little bit of staining. Not necessarily anything crazy, especially because I do end up using a smaller brush to do like the black detail work of the eyes and everything, and there wasn't anything remotely close to like a black stain, but like it picked up a lot of the yellow tint from the skin and it stained the brush just a little. Nothing crazy and nothing that's like gonna change my use of them whatsoever, but obviously, with them being white brushes, certain colors tend to stick to brushes like that in general. I've noticed in the past, so I mean, it's fair and to be expected. But yeah, no, these were actually really nice brushes. And I kind of didn't have a full-on game plan going in with this piece. I just kind of wanted to have fun, try doing some of these small details, especially doing like eyelashes and eyeliner and even nostrils and like little points like that. And I really enjoyed using the really fine detail brushes for this. I've picked up in the past very small detail brushes that are similar to this, but I wasn't as big of a fan because they weren't quite as firm as I would hope, or weren't quite as even malleable as I would hope. And I think the reason I like firmness in my brush for the smaller detail ones is I like the tip to stay a tip and to really be more of fine pointed in that aspect, because I'm so used to using like a fine liner that I want like really fine detail work. So originally I had planned on doing like full watercolor galaxy hair, and you can kind of see the start as I'm going with this, and I do like the way it looks, but I quickly decided that it just wasn't bold enough for me right off the bat. So instead, what I decided to do was I took a Tombow marker in a real lovely blue color and overlaid it over the base here that I am laying down. And then I just took some water with my size 8 round brush. It's Princeton Velvet Touch round brush, and just ran the water through it. Because it is a watercolor marker, I let the water kind of let the color merge and flow and get the real nice like soft touch to it, but also being real nice and bold without having to really mix up a lot of color in my palette to get a solid color like this. So it's kind of convenient using the Tombos, as well as I've talked about in the past, of being able to lay those down and then use water to just kind of spread the color and make it easier for yourself. So another gift that I did receive this weekend as well is Winsor & Newton calligraphy ink in the white. It is for fountain pens and dip pens, but I decided to use a very tiny detail brush for this. And I'm actually pretty impressed with the ink. I probably should have let the hair dry a bit more before I laid it, because there were moments where the white wasn't quite as opaque as I would have liked, but it didn't really make too big of a difference because I was able to go back over them and really brighten up some of those white, those spots I wanted to be more white. And I love doing galaxy hair, so I just, of course, wanted to do stars and get that real kind of nice flow, especially once that blue came in the way that I wanted it to, and it had the real like nice light spaces and then real dark spaces, because of the under layering of the previous watercolor lay that I had put, and it really put a nice flow to it, and I love the way that it looked. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna stick with doing galaxy hair and make it work. And I don't know, I love the way that this turned out. It's really simple as far as the pose goes, and I didn't necessarily add a lot of extra detail. I just did kind of her upper body and this galaxy tone. The only thing I was kind of disappointed in myself is I didn't mix my color too well before I went to lay shadows in the lower half of the picture, so in her body, her like upper shoulder area and everything. So it laid a bit heavier than I wanted to, and then trying to remove some of that didn't work out quite as well, but I don't think it takes away from the image as a whole. So I had a lot of fun. I hope that you guys had a great weekend. I realized I was kind of a little absent last week, you know, celebrating my birthday this last weekend and everything. Took some time away, but I appreciate you guys ever so much. I hope that you guys have a fantastic day, and as always, thank you for watching, and take it easy.